Hi, Arne. Today we'll talk about one of the most underrated world champions in chess history. Do you have any idea who it might be?
Um, well, there's no, I think there's considered Max Euwe is considered one of the most underrated. Could that be?
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
it.
I had the show with Frederick Friedel once upon a time, and I think I heard this here and there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's the one that doesn't get talked about that much. He was the fifth world champion, he was Dutch, and he was also the former president of FIDE, which is a hot topic right now.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
And many people miss that he was also a very educated mathematician. He had a PhD and he was a professor alongside an amazing chess career. So, do you know much about his chess style?
Not so much. I think I saw a couple of games, of course, in my life. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
It's part of chess education, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't the most aggressive. I think it was more positional. I think he was almost like a person who was putting in a new chapter in the positional player. Although I think it was Alekhine, right? It was kind of.
So, no, that's
No,
a
I'm
fair
mixing it up.
assessment. It's a pretty fair assessment. He wasn't known as a super attacking player nor as a super defensive player. So we would just say he's balanced, logical, straightforward.
Okay.
That would probably describe it best.
Hmm.
And he defeated Alekhine in 1935, which was a big upset back then, and then he lost the rematch to him in 1937. So we will see actually one attacking game from him and one defensive game to learn from him today. And this
Nice.
is our first position. He's playing as white. What do you think white should do?
Well, I mean, isn't it absolutely crystal clear that you have to take on e6 without even thinking? Okay, so
Yeah.
seriously, what should white
Very, very
do?
good idea. We can calculate that.
Yeah, it won't work because the bishop, I mean, it just won't work.
Why?
Well, look, if we take on e6, they take back. We take on e6 with the queen, give a check. Um, I guess the bishop goes back to e7 maybe, or the king goes aside. I don't know. There's plenty of options. What to do here? I think.
Valid. So yeah, something like this, white still has an attack, but maybe after this it's about equal,
Wow.
and
What?
that bishop retreat really helped black because now they have a lot of pieces.
You actually prepared this line, which I was.
Of course. No, no, because actually there's an important detail here.
You don't have to take back. You
Yeah.
go to g5 with the knight.
No.
You don't. Instead,
What was the problem in the other line? Well, not problem, but
it was closed. So d5? No, it cannot work.
D5 is a move in a lot of these lines,
Okay,
but not here.
I need to stop guessing. So I need to really think about this. Oh, wow. I would have stopped here, honestly.
Yeah. So Queen E6, it was that the bishop goes back to E7 and a lot of things get protected around the king.
So we have to stop the bishop from going back to e7 with the Zwischenzug a5.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So that's what he does in the game.
Oh my goodness, this is such an unusual pattern.
Yep. I thought so too. I thought it was like it was cool
Wow.
to follow up a sacrifice with that.
Wow. Which makes you reconsider all the sacrifices I've done in my life which didn't work. Maybe I should have just
You could have
searched
just
for the
added A5.
Zwischenzug. Yeah, a5. Just add
Yeah.
a5. If it's not there anymore, just make it happen somehow.
Exactly.
a5.
That's the key to all the sacrifices. So that's
Oh.
it works out here because now the bishop cannot return, and well, the king has to move. If it moves like this, then there is actually a way to win this knight because now this knight can get attacked, and then one of
Oh,
them has to move.
okay.
Well, actually, this one has to move, and then this one gets lost.
Yeah.
So would lose a piece for black. So instead, the king goes here. Now, he continues. So a few ways, but one of them is the best one. Do you want to find it?
I'm trying. Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking that one of the pawn moves might be too slow. But then again, nothing is much faster. The knights also cannot really go there. I mean, oh, it's tricky, isn't it? Is it very simple bishop g5 and then threaten e5 to
It's
win
a valid
peace?
idea, but like you said, the pawn moves are probably as fast as it can get. If you push
Hmm.
this one, then we might lose this one here. So this one doesn't threaten as much, but e5 actually works. And the point is not to specifically win a piece back or do anything like that, but just to keep that attack ongoing and to keep removing these defenders around the black king. There's a lot of things that black can do. None of them are like exactly like glamorous. For example, like you said, this bishop g5 idea, if our bishop can ever come here with a check or with that pin from before, that's great. Like that's something that targets the king and that would be amazing. But of course, black doesn't have to do all of that. And instead in the game went here.
Do we go
The,
back with the queen again to h3 in our safe
yes,
zone?
the queen to h3. This is actually a really good square for it, believe it or not.
Yeah,
It
I
ends
mean,
up,
it was there before already. And there's like, if you want to stay on this diagonal, which I think might be crucial, then you have to do that, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. So the queen does stay here. In all of these lines, black probably has to take here at some point to make sure that the pieces can move because they were a little bit stuck. So now, which capture is better, do you think? Do we take this knight? Do we take this bishop? Which one?
That is such a good question, right? So I
I
it
think both of them are pretty good, actually. So,
yeah, but maybe one it feels more natural to take the bishop but I think that the only reason for that is because the pawn structure looks a bit healthier like this. If we would take the knight, then there would be 4 spread pawns. This is the
mhm.
only reason.
Your
I'm not sure
intuition
if
is right because the computer prefers this one.
I am like a computer. I
Exactly.
think
The computer
that's
likes
why.
that. Um, you just have to find compensation for the piece then later. Um, but in the game, he takes like this. And you're
Hmm.
right that the pawns are a bit more suspicious here. And what was the best variation for black, which he didn't find, the opponent didn't find, was bishop b2. I mean, I think you usually don't like taking such pawns.
I see. Yeah. So black tries to find compensation by trying to destroy the structure and the pawns
Yeah.
for a piece win.
And it's somewhat equal
Yeah.
according to the engine, but these positions are always really tough to play. And of
Yeah.
course, there's a lot of tactics that come with that. So one interesting thing is that the rook cannot come here. So you can maybe distract it and then come here, but then give up the piece somehow and play out something like that. But I think bishop b2 is just a hard move to play. So in the game, he goes bishop b4 back. That ends up being a slight mistake. And now white is able to take here. Would you rather play for white or black in this position?
That's the white, definitely. Assuming, first of all,
Okay.
our king is super safe. Then we have an attack going on, which is fun.
So it's a
And
piece for 2 pawns.
yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's true. So white is better, both according to the engine and I think according to most like people who would look at this position. But definitely white can easily mess up because,
Hmm.
as we'll see, some of these lines are not that all that straightforward. So this passed pawn ends up being actually a really important player in this whole attack, and of course it will always threaten to promote. Black goes here, which is a logical retreat, but this is, I would say, probably the last key moment in the game of what white should play. Because
I
if
see a
not that,
threat.
it gets a little trickier.
I see a little threat, but I'm not sure if that's... it's probably a bit too easy.
What's your little threat?
Bishop d2.
It's actually fine. I've looked at that move as well. Computer says just take the pawn, naturally, I guess. And then king here. And white's still better, but not winning.
Damn. Yeah, that white is even still better there. I mean, yeah, I can see how quickly it can shift. And as you said, this pawn on g7 can be forgotten very quickly, but it should not be. Okay, so do we try to open up with knight e5? Give another piece? Try to get rid of the bishop?
You got it.
Okay.
So the main idea behind this move is that if it ever gets captured, then we get to open up the d file. And that's very important for that king because it's been tucked away, but it lets us open that.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what he plays in the game, and it's the most clear-cut way to the winning position. Basically, if the knight takes, then white is going to win with this, and rook d1. And even if, I don't know, like black can cover in some ways, or they can run with the king, but it's not really going to help because there's a lot of different checkmates here. You can do fancy if you want. Like there's a lot of things to do. So there's that. What else is there? There's bishop takes, which is what he played in the game. And after this, the d file is open, and that ends up being really, really powerful. Black doesn't have much to do. Have a few options. If this pawn ever gets taken, then we can even give this check and play with that pin and potentially win that piece back with the king still not finding a safe spot. But that's just one option. And plus that rook, remember, there's always going to be a threat of promoting.
This pawn is probably the reason for the whole evaluation difference.
True. In a lot of the lines, that pawn is the main player.
And it's really funny because it's just standing there. Nobody attacks it. Nobody's closed. Bishop on g6 is just like, oh, hi.
Yeah, I'm just
don't
hanging
do
around
anything
here.
Stupid. I cannot help it, but don't.
Yeah, no, that's so true. So in the game, he played bishop f7 to maybe prevent that annoying pawn from promoting, but there was no reasonable defense anyway. So after this, there's a nice e6 move too. If this, there's even queen takes e6 if you want.
Oh, goodness.
To do that. But the game ends soon after with this and a nice queen c3 to attack that knight, to which there is no defense.
Nice.
So it was a very cool game, I thought, especially that a5 idea.
Yeah.
Alongside the sacrifice. He's often not, like Max Euwe is often not thought of as an attacking player, but as we see, he does know how to carry his initiative and had a lot of understanding in those games as well.
He had his moments.
Now we go to his one defensive game. So,
by the way, for you at home, of course, I highly recommend to check out the games in the article. This is what players at a certain level, or even at a lower level, if they really enjoy chess, they look at the classics. I've heard it so often and so many times how helpful this is. And yeah, to just take some ideas in, some patterns and all of that. It definitely cannot harm you.
Yeah, I actually think looking at the classics is more fun than the regular chess studying, whether that's like an opening or an end game study. I find that this is more fun because it's like there's a story to it,
Yep.
and you learn better when you remember it, like when you have these ideas connected to a story. Now we see Max Euwe playing as black against Geller, and we will see something a bit, I guess, more prophylactic as a game. And very recently, our like Canadian Olympiad coach for the upcoming Olympiad gave me an advice that I think I'll remember for a long time, is that prophylaxis does not mean defense, and it does not mean that it's passive. It's actually aggressive to stop your opponent's ideas, which I never thought of it that way, but I thought it was a pretty good insight. So now here we have position as black. What do you think black should do? This is sort of like a theory idea,
this
but
is exactly what I'm actually confused about. Can you please tell me do you know what kind of opening this came from?
yeah, it's the Nimzo.
Okay.
Because the bishop was here, pawn went here, and then it captured, right? So I believe this is the Nimzo.
So, I mean, my first thought was d5, but I
That's
don't know
fair.
the theory.
No, that's fair to say.
That's a problem.
But in a lot of these lines, we kind of want to play against these pawns, so we don't want to trade them just yet.
Okay. Well, is it the very, very, very normal bishop a6?
Bishop a6 is the main plan, so you're right about that. That's usually what black is going to end up wanting to do.
Okay.
That's why the knight went here, bishop a6. Perfect, good plan.
Okay,
But
so maybe I think I know now. I think I have the idea. And it's a bit crazy, but I was thinking about what you just said, which was prophylaxis is not only for defending, it's also for attacking. And the move I'm about to play is e5.
Interesting. You're kind of like, I understand the trap. I understand the trap.
I thought, yeah, white would want to play e5. I think it looks very strong. And now we are in the awkward position that our knight goes to e8 after taking, but then maybe c7 and maybe even e6, and it looks a bit fun. But
it does look fun. I do think that white will defend it though, this pawn.
Probably white will do that because
but it's very cool that you found that, like, you thought about that e5 idea as well, because it is one of white's good ideas too. The move itself is weird. I'll tell you white's main idea, which is not that obvious. Okay. So instead of playing e5 right away, let's say black does nothing. White's main idea is actually bishop g5. And you threaten e5. And there's not really a good way to defend it. The queen moves, then the knight gets taken.
Yeah.
And like, what else can we do about that? We can maybe only kick that bishop, but that's not good for our king.
That's not good for our king.
That's not good. And if we don't kick it and play d6, then e5 is still on the horizon, and they can play f4 and e5.
That's not good for our knight.
And that's not good for our knight, exactly. So that's the main idea, is bishop g5.
What if we play the very weird move again, which reminds me a little bit of one of our very recent shows, knight e8 immediately.
Perfect. This is the prophylactic maneuver. Maybe this is going to be a known idea for the Nimzo players, but I think it's a really neat idea. It prevents bishop g5 right away. And one more idea is that white in these positions likes to play f4.
I see.
And the second they play f4, we now have an extra option of f5, which is nice.
That's also a reason I played that knight there, yeah.
Yes, exactly. I like that. So, exactly, that's the move, and it is a prophylactic move. But although it goes back and it looks passive, it makes your next play much easier because you're prevented the most aggressive ideas for white. So now white goes here, just to continue, and black ends up, bishop a6 is really good as well, what you mentioned, that's one of the main moves here, but instead he goes for this rook c8 instead. White often sacrifices this pawn like this if they want to just give it up. In the game, he gave it up a bit differently with just throwing the attack on that side. And Euwe takes that pawn and now starts kind of his defensive maneuvers. So f5, what's white's threat?
Well, white wants to take on e6, open the file, attack on...
Actually, they would rather not take on e6.
Oh, they wouldn't?
Mm-mm.
So what would they do then? They would just move to f6?
Yeah, f6, knight f6.
Ah, e5.
Close.
Oh.
Bishop g5 again.
Oh no. Of course.
And that's annoying
Okay.
for our
Oh, that's
king as
tricky.
well.
That's a tricky one. Yeah, I see. That'll actually win a piece.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's not pleasant. So what should black play then?
How about... No, this doesn't work. So wait a second. Well, I'm thinking about the very awkward f6.
That's not awkward at all. That's what he played in the game.
Huh. Looks
Yeah, you
awkward
got
to
it.
me.
Yeah, no, I understand why it does. But it just prevents that main idea. That's basically it. And now white cannot have that big bishop diagonal and everything else. So
Funny.
stop the immediate threat. White goes rook f4, which it looks logical to bring over the rook to h4. And they want to start that attack. So what should be black's plan now? This is actually very interesting because I'm not sure that everybody would have handled it that way, like Euwe showed in the game. So what do you think black should be trying to do?
Maybe run away with the king? No.
Not yet, but I mean, eventually can maybe hide on f7, e7.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Svitlana. What should black do here? Is there any counterattack? No. What happens if we take the piece? They take back. Our knight goes to d6. I thought of g5, but it looks so crazy that I would like... No, it cannot.
Yeah, that's what probably we shouldn't do, is push these pawns next to the king.
No. Is it... Oh, it's so difficult. e5?
So I think e5 is it's one of the best moves as well. It's not what he played, but basically when you're getting attacked, there's, I guess, like three things you can do. You can defend on that side if you need to, but that's not the usual recommendation, right? Usually they say you counterattack in the center, or you go to the other side and you try to make something happen on that side that's more significant. So there's those ideas, and that's exactly the two ideas that exist here. e5 was one of the ways to counterattack in the center with d5. It gets a little messy, so need to calculate. Black, it would still be better. But a lot of stuff will definitely happen around the king and in that center that will actually need to be calculated.
That's scary. I mean, I'm just
what he does then,
h5 and stuff
it
like
is
that.
so scary. Yeah. I don't know how you would go for that with a calm mind, but he goes something to me even more remarkable, because at least we know about that central attack, but he goes for like a different central counterattacking plan, which is through b5. It looks like a completely random move, right? Like, what are you gonna do on this side of the board? But what he is trying to do is
get the queen to b6.
Get the queen to b6, exactly. Because that, sure, it counterattacks in the center, but at least that threat is actually quite significant. So that's the point of counterattack, is that it needs to be big enough for the opponent to pay attention to it rather than just play on with their attack. So it is a very significant threat, and what it does is if white starts defending it, then their queen has to be tied to defending it, which is not something they want. So white does something correct. They do both defense and attack and play e5. So this pawn gets defended while at the same time some files get opened up. I would be terrified. I don't know what I would be thinking here.
Yeah.
But what do you think black plays?
We take on f5 and then we play g6.
I keep wanting to play g6, but what if knight takes and then like knight e7 as well?
Yeah, the knight can also take. It's horrible. Maybe we should just try to continue our attack, but how?
Oh, for a draw.
Oh,
No.
we can just take on e5.
No. Exactly. So not this pawn though.
No, with the knight.
Because of this. It's still okay, but maybe not ideal. But exactly what you said, taken with the knight. This is one of black's good like defensive ideas, because you at least we now have an advantage in the center that if white's attack doesn't work, we have that going for us, which is important in attacks as well. White took. We take the bishop because we don't want that guy. And
does
here is
finally g6 come now, or did I miss something again?
Well, you could play it, but then e takes d7, and I guess it's a little rough that we have to give a piece.
You're right. So we just take on e6, I guess.
Yeah, we do with the queen.
Yeah.
Even. Actually, g6, even the computer even says that. Yeah, actually, this is a trick, because if there's queen c6.
Nice.
So that's actually fine. Like
black
could have trapped white. Yeah, I also didn't see it at first. But there's bishop h6 apparently, and that's a problem. It's looking like a problem with knight f5 even.
Oh gosh.
And
everything falls apart in split seconds.
Stuff we don't want to see. Yeah.
No.
But it's complicated still. He plays queen e6, which was actually right. And for the small price of the h7 pawn and black's sanity, probably.
Who cares about checks?
Black actually has something going on too. At least we have a mate threat.
Almost, at least.
Yeah. And so, at this point, white, of course, wants to continue the attack and increases the pressure with bishop to h6. So that protects the back rank and attacks on g7, which is a big deal. And here, I think, to me, this is my favorite moment in the game. How should black defend? Or attack?
Again, I say attacking. So I'm thinking, like, after queen d5, how can white even defend? There's only 2 moves. No, there's 3 moves, actually, sadly. Okay. So it's not an option. I mean, there's the queen, the rook, or the knight can go to e4 and quickly abandon this idea.
I mean, I think your queen d5 is a, very reasonable try. I think white ends up playing something like that.
Yeah.
Knight is tied to g7, so it's a bit less clear of how to continue, but yeah.
This is such an interesting position.
I think you'll like the move. What?
No, this doesn't work.
What would you...
Yes, it does.
What?
Rook h8.
Yeah, you got it. That's a shocking move to see.
Feels good.
Yeah. So what's the
It's so
idea?
fun. It's so much fun because you see in this position, there's something which must work. And
Yeah.
there's like, it must work somehow. So
So
how do you
what's your
get rid
idea
of this
behind it?
defender? So the idea is rook c2, because that is really difficult to defend without losing a piece, I think. I mean, we're losing a piece now, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think we have a greater threat like that.
Exactly. So to me, this is a move with like two exclams
Yeah.
because it's so nice and it's a very unusual solution to you just want access to a square and you give up a whole rook for it, but it does make sense. So rook c2. Now white has only like very, very few defenses to that. There's only one actually that works in the whole game, and it's d5. It's, yeah,
Poof.
very tough to see as well. So that's kind of like how white felt when black played rook h8. This is probably the same that like
How black
now
felt
black
now
feels.
after this attack.
Now black feels the
Ouch.
same way because this kind of disrupts the coordination of the black pieces. If the queen takes, there's rook e4 with a really huge threat on e8, and that's
Oh
not
no.
good. White would win in that case. And if bishop takes, then there's rook d1, and yeah, it gets tricky basically, and a lot of things to calculate, right? So it gets super, super complicated, but basically white
Okay.
has ideas of their own.
I see. Yeah, I thought of queen b6, but that doesn't work. The
Mm-hmm.
knight
No,
can
but
protect.
that too, but like it's, yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff here.
Yes, it is.
So that was the best move, but instead rook c1 is played, and that ends up being the mistake.
Uh-huh.
Basically what he does is that rook comes here. Obviously you want to trade, but you know that black is going to take. And the idea is that here cannot happen either way because of the discovered checks. But on king f1, white wanted to just defend that c4 square to take it away from the queen
Uh-huh.
to not have this be checkmate.
But
So
what can white do against queen a2?
queen a2 works too.
Uh-huh.
He played queen b3 in the...
Queen b3. Oh, okay. Yeah,
So both of
that'll do
them
just fine.
work, I think. I think queen b3 is better.
Oh, queen a2 doesn't work. Now I'm
It was the
curious.
second line. I remember it. It was the second
Okay.
best. But queen b3 wins like
Yes.
convincingly, and queen a2 doesn't. So yeah, you just create that extra threat of either queen d3 or queen f3, and the game was over after queen f3 with ideas of, yeah, just mate. So
Fantastic.
that was a classic example of an active defense that was combined with a good counterattack. And yeah, and it supports that idea that prophylaxis doesn't always mean that you have to be passive. It's actually can be aggressive to prevent the opponent's ideas. And that's what that was my discovery with Max Euwe as well, that he was both good, like he was a very balanced player, good in both attack and defense. And that's why I think yeah, he's one of the world champion that gets talked about the least, but there's definitely stuff to learn from him as well.
Love it. Thank you so much, Svitlana. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We see each other soon enough. Bye bye.